Alex.
Hey guys, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Fully with impulses for many projects and many projects to come. And mostly very happy to see you actually in real life now. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm happy to be here on this platform and to provide some, information regarding our interesting project. So thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Alex. So feel free to kickstart your showcase and definitely also give us a little introduction about you and your team. And I will be delightful checking it out.
Uh, yeah, sure. Let me start my screen demonstration. Just a sec. So, guys, can you see my screen now? Is it? Yeah, it's live. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, cool. So in this case, yeah, let me share a few words about me and my team, about my partners. So I'm in crypto from 2017. I participated in some ICOs back in the day, helped some ICO projects. Before this, I do have some brokerage experience, so I know the thing or two how the market's operating. In 2019, 2020, me and my other partners, we have established a blockchain development company. It's called MyCDM Lab. So we have been creating mostly DeFi solutions. So this is like our main area of expertise. And I would say help to create more than 30 different custom products. So like we're doing this on a fully basis. Like front end, back end, smart contract development, marketing at some point. And around 1 year ago, we decided to create a tool, like internal tool for ourselves. So we were staking, we were farming, we were providing liquidity, we were getting some APY profit on top of this, and we decided to create something that can help us out in this journey. Because when we were doing this, it was annoying. It was a bad user experience. Liquidity sources were fractionalized. There was a lot of manual work, a lot of on-chain operations. So like we started Uniform as our internal project for our own staking and farming needs. Then we show it to our friends, to some DeFi enthusiasts. They say, okay, you need this feature and this feature. At some point, we understood this, like we are really solving some problems on the DeFi yield aggregation market, and decided to bootstrap Uniform into something bigger. So this is like a small story about me, my team, and how we actually came up with the Uniform idea. So basically, what is Uniform? It's a cross-chain yields aggregator with optimization functionality. So we're aggregating different trusted yield sources inside. We are providing the best, like the top-notch APY on top of this liquidity, and plus on top of this, we do have a special system, a special feature called auto stress, which is our unique value proposition, which is automatically moving liquidity around different yield sources, meaning that users don't need to do anything with their liquidity. They can just provide liquidity and, I don't know, go and meditate into the mountains. So this is like our general approach. What we wanted to create, we want to create a Web3 service, which will be as easy to use as the Web2 service. And plus, on top of this, it will be 100% DeFi orientated, transparent, and trusted, of course. So since we're like operating on the DeFi market, when we were thinking about what kind of project we want to bootstrap, we were thinking about DeFi, we were thinking about yield aggregation in DeFi, because we see the potential of the market growth in the upcoming 5 or 10 years. Trends are coming and going, but yield generation in DeFi is just, the core foundation. Plus, like some collapses of like custodial services like Texas or some other custodial organizations, they just lead more interest to the decentralized financial products. So that's why we are focusing all our efforts inside Uniform. We want to build something great here, to build unique one single entry point into the whole DeFi yield aggregation opportunities. So there's a bunch of problems. Actually, I've tackled some of these problems when I was explaining how I get to the Uniform idea, but uh, in general, like what we're talking here about. So like when users are operating with a liquidity provision, they need to like operate with multiple UIs, a lot of blockchain, everything is fractionalized, a lot of different yield sources. It's a lot of mess, right? So also there is a problem. I call it APY volatility problem. So the APY is changing because the APY it reflects some market conditions, and when you provide liquidity, you get some revenue on top of this. This revenue is changing a lot, so it can be, I don't know, 5% today, 10% tomorrow, 0% the day after tomorrow. You never know. So like you need to be inside the market. You need to stay inside the market every time. You need to manage your liquidity manually. Otherwise, you'll be missing out some additional APY. And this is like actually the core problem that we are facing here and solving with on-farm tech. Also, one of the greatest problem which is preventing mass adoption, in my humble opinion, is the complexity of UI. So here on this slide, you can take a look what on-chain operations needed to be done if you're providing liquidity manually. Like you need to swap the tokens into two underlying assets, provide them on a DEX, collect LP token, put it on like on staking, collect farm rewards, and then sell them into some underlying assets or some other strategy that you do have. So this is like a lot of complication issues, right? So, and this was actually the first thing that we have created inside the protocol. We eliminated all these unnecessary steps. So for now, you can hop into any kind of pool or any kind of auto stress, any kind of products that we do have inside the ecosystem without doing all of these unnecessary movements and on-chain operations. Only one click of the button and you start to provide liquidity and you start to earn some like APY on top of this liquidity. And of course, since we're operating in the DeFi, it's a lot of unsafe protocols, it's a lot of instability in this case. So this is like the general things that we are covering with the protocol. How we're doing this? So we do have a simplified user interface. I'm going to show it on the products briefly. For instance, we do have special features like a single asset entry or a single asset withdrawal, meaning that you can enter any kind of pool or any kind of product from any kind of token. So, for instance, from USDT, you can enter into USDT Matic pool or Ethereum Matic pool, something like this. It will be swapped. We are utilizing here 1inch Tech. 1inch is one of our technical partners in the ecosystem. Also, we do have an automated reinvest mechanism, which is selling these farm tokens with the most optimal frequency. We're doing this with another like special design algorithm, which is doing this better than the competitors. AutoStrats, as I mentioned briefly, is our core feature, our unique value proposition, which is swapping liquidity to the better yield source. And our ultimate idea is to create this feature working on a cross-chain basis, where liquidity will be traveling within different yield sources on different blockchains, and like users don't need to bridge it or do like anything with it. Just click one button and you will get the best APY in the system. Also, we do have a nice analytics of the portfolio for the users, because it's a lack of this as well in the majority of protocols. A lot of safety features. One of the greatest one is inheritance mechanism. So to be honest, this is one of our recent implementations. So like we have designed the system and we'll be implementing it inside Uno Farm. I would say in a couple of weeks, maybe on the next week. So it's like fully audited, like the protocol itself. Inheritance mechanism will provide you some, so like it will help you to prevent something like this. Like if you will lose access to your private keys or something happened to you physically, like you can inherit your liquidity to some like secondary blockchain of yours, or like the wallet which belong to your family member, something like this. And in this case, like liquidity won't be lost by no means, right? So because you know how many, 3 or maybe 6 million bitcoins considered to be lost. So we're going to integrate this feature inside AutoStress as well, meaning that you can provide liquidity. It will be working with the best APY in the system, and on top of this, it will be inherited somewhere. If you like won't do anything, it will be transferred to some prefabricated wallet that you have chosen before. Okay, so let's talk about like our core unique value proposition, like what we are doing better than the competitors, and what is the greatest problem in the system, in our opinion. So this is an API volatility problem. When you're like providing liquidity in the like different DeFi protocols, you never know how much like APY you'll get tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, because it's like floating, it's going up or down. And in the majority of cases, there is a situation when you provide liquidity, let's say for 20% on the stable coins, but there is a better yield source which is providing 25. But 20 and 25 is just an examples here. So what our system is doing, it's checking all the yield sources, and if it's reasonable to make a swap, our backend is doing all the calculations, and smart contracts will take liquidity and swap it somewhere else. So we can take it from this yield source and provide it to this yield source. Also, we taught our system that we can swap some of the tokens inside. So for instance, we can swap this liquidity from yield source number 1 to yield source number 2, and also swap the internal tokens. So we can swap USDC for USDT, meaning that we have more capabilities, more possibilities of this potential swaps. So why it is so important? Why this problem is decent, and why we're paying so much attention to this one? Because if you will be operating with your liquidity more carefully and doing this in a more optimized way, you can get 1.4, even 2 times more additional APY on top of the same liquidity. So here on this slide, you can take a look at the calculations that we. So like we've taken some real market data from the Beefy Finance, one of our competitors, and have calculated what if we provided liquidity there and we don't move it in some of the yield sources over there. So for instance, on the sushi, if you don't move it somewhere else, for this time period that we have calculated, it was 7.4% on the stable coin pair. You can be lucky enough to have like 9.2% on a quick swap if you don't move it somewhere else, or you can be unlucky enough to have only 2% on a jet swap, because you can provide liquidity, forget about this, and it won't be lying down in the best spot. So, but UNA Autostrats would perform 11.6% because liquidity will be traveling from this yield source to this one, maybe here, trying to reach out to the best place where it should be parked. And by this means, it's on average will provide you 50% additional APY on top of the same liquidity, right? If we're talking about non-stable pairs, the API volatility will be even greater. So here, if you don't move your liquidity, you will get 22.6% tops, but UNO Autostrats will perform 55, like more than 2 times bigger amount of APY, because there will be more internal swaps of the liquidity in this case. So the main like idea here is the following: the more yield sources are connected, the more possibilities of these swaps exist, the more efficiently algorithms will be working. And I just want to show how it's working on real product. So this is on the farm. On the farm is live on 4 EVM compatible blockchains and actually 1 non-EVM compatible blockchain. Here we do have our pool section, which is utilizing these features. Actually, I'm going to get back here. So like we're talking about Autostrats. So this is, take a look at one of the Autostrats. So when we were thinking about Autostrats, when we were thinking about this solution, we never wanted to create some sort of black box solution like the custodian services are doing, right? So we wanted to create a white box solution where everybody can take a look what is going on inside, right? So we're showing what tokens will be inside, what is the current pool with the current APY, and also for each Autostrat, we do have a prefabricated list of the pools. For instance, in this case, this particular Autostrat consists of the 5 different pools, and these 5 pools, but outside this ecosystem. Yeah, we can swap some of the tokens, like for instance, we can swap DAI for USDC and vice versa. But the point is that users will have full control and the custody until they enter with this autostrat with their liquidity, what will be going on, in which tokens this liquidity will be represented, on which yield sources, on which chains, and so on. And also they can take a look at the previous liquidity transfers, meaning that users have a full control and custody what is going on with their liquidity provided. It's not a black box solution. So this is why we're operating in the DeFi space. So basically, this is how the autostrats are working. And now we do have autostrats operating on the Polygon. Soon we're going to release the Binance Smart Chain autostrats, and also I guess the next one will be Aurora. So let's get back to the or actually give me a few more seconds. I just want to show what else do we have on the platform so far. So we were talking about autostrats, which contains some like prefabricated list of the pools inside, but also we do have the pools, right? So we started from the pools, and this is this simplification of UI feature that I was talking about. So imagine that you want to provide liquidity, like 7 different on-chain operations, right? So now inside Uno Farm, you can open any kind of pool or any kind of autostrat. It's totally the same. With I can enter with B into USDT, BNB, or any other pool which I can select. So also I can withdraw this liquidity in form of any token, meaning that this token, in this case BNB, will be swapped into this underlying assets over here. Then it will be put on the farming, LP token taken, put on the farming, farm rewards will be taken, utilized, and sell back into the underlying assets. So from the user's perspective, you just need to provide one token, like liquidity in form of one token. And like special roadmap here. So at some point, we want to integrate a fiat gateway, or maybe a fiat gateway aggregator, when users, even non-DeFi oriented, not crypto oriented, can convert their fiat into the crypto. And let's say they will have USDT, let's say on the Polygon, right? But here we do have a product on Binance Smart Chain or Aurora Chain, and they will have an ability to hop into any kind of product from the crypto on any kind of chain. So we are going to enter automated bridge over here as well. Probably we're going to provide this bridging infrastructure with one of our tech partners. Like we're talking with a bunch of different bridges, but also we've utilized one interesting solution coming from our partner. It's called Lee.Fee. So the Lee.Fee is a bridge aggregator, which is helping us to bridge and swap tokens between the chains. Or for instance, I can swap token A to token B. I can swap BNB to Matic from Binance Smart Chain to Polygon. And also on top of this, guys have an insurance of this transaction. So I can pay some extra pennies, and this transaction will be insurable. And this is very and highly important, especially when we're talking about autostrats, because at some point we want to build autostrats working like this, like which on the multiple chains. So that's why we do have a backlog of the chains which we're going to connect, and a lot of different yield sources. We are choosing very carefully with whom we wanted to work with. We're not aggregating everything inside, but this is one of our approaches for the security. Okay, let's hop back into the presentation. So let's talk about general metrics of the protocol. So platform is live on 5 chains, as I've mentioned, 4 EVM compatible, 1 non-EVM compatible. So far, 75 protocols, yield sources are implemented inside. 100% of the smart contracts are audited by 2 certic audits. We do have, wrong data. So we do have around 280K TVL, which is corresponding to top 40 placed according to DeFi Llama in this category. About 8.2 connected wallets, around 1.8, I guess around 2K deposits. So at this moment, and a lot of different pools and autostrats and unique tokens aggregated inside. Also, we are accelerated and do have a partnership with the Cointelegraph. We won an ICT Labs accelerator program. Actually, we don't want it. We came up to the top 50 projects selected from 250. Polygon is helping us. Aurora, of course, is helping us a lot as one of our core partners. Um, so Polygon, Aurora, and Neverscale teams provided grants. Also, we do have grants from the Amazon Web Services, from Lido.fi, from the Graph Protocol. We're working hard in our socials, so please subscribe to our Twitter and Discord. We're mostly trying to build community in this social so far. So in terms of a roadmap, I was trying to talk out loud what kind of ecosystem we want to build. But to be honest, we do have a roadmap with the backlog of the task for 1 or 2 years up ahead. So there is a lot of things that we wanted to create. So now we have started to work on the secondary versions of the autostrats, which will be utilizing some other tech inside, and they will be working better, and there will be more potential of them working better. The third version of autostrats will be working with different blockchains, where like liquidity control within different blockchains. We almost finish working on this inheritance mechanism, and if I will have time, I can show you the guys this feature. We call it D-Wheel. Maybe it will be some sort of a like sub-product of the Luna Farm, and we're also working on the B2B partnerships right now, and I just wanted to mention how it will be doing. So when we started the protocol, first of all, we were thinking out loud, like we were thinking from the retail side, right? So we were retail customers, we were thinking from this side. When we started to show the product to the audience, we understood that businesses have the same demand as the user. So they want to have something that can generate some revenue for the user. So how we see the process, like we started first B2B integrations with a couple of neobanks, with a couple of other DeFi protocols. We realized that we need to create some sort of SDK, some sort of widget, which will be utilizing autostrats as one of our main solutions, as one of our core features, and providing it to some external parties, some third parties. So meaning that imagine that like you do have a neobank, or imagine that you do have a crypto ecosystem, right? So we're going to provide our tech as a white label solution, meaning that like we even won't be charging anything in the first place, in the first B2B integrations. But lately it will be one of the token utilities actually. So there will be some subscription payment and token for this on the later stages when the token will be released. So for now we want to focus on this B2B integration to create a widget to provide it to some crypto ecosystems. So they will get it for free. They will provide some TVL, some users in return. We're going to provide the best API in the system right to the users, and we're going to split some fees that we're going to accumulate together. So this is like a win-win-win situation for everybody, for our B2B partners, for the users, because they will be having the best API in the system, and for us, because we will be aggregating some TVL. TVL is one of the greatest metrics in the protocol, like Luna Farm. Talking about like business model and metrics and all this stuff. So in general, we wanted to have transactional business model. So we'll have different like fees integrated inside different features. So there will be performance fees, maybe management fees, maybe some fees for the fiat gateways, for this B2B integrations at some point. But all of these fees will be controlled and governed by the DAO. So we see the DAO acting as a big CEO at some point, and the DAO will be controlling 40% of the whole total token allocation. So that's why DAO governance and governance functionality is one of the biggest token utility. Also, we'll have this affiliate system like referral payments, which I've mentioned as a token utilities. The tier system for the users, so users will need to stake some amount of tokens in order to have access to some features, like full 100% access to this feature. Um, so peer gateway, on-ramp and off-ramp discounts when we are going to integrate it in our token, and some other token utility. So um, I've started from our team, but a few words. We founded Mycelium Lab around 3-4 years ago. So we don't have a lot of experience in development, a lot of experience in marketing. So Mike previously founded a marketing agency with more than 150% employees. Mike is our CEO. Roman, our CTO, and I would say he's the father of this protocol. He started to he entered blockchain space in 2011. Started to mine Bitcoin on his balcony. It's a cool story about this. Started to code on the smart contracts from day one. So he is all this complicated math and tech details is coming out from the Roman's head. I'm a CPDO, and another Alex is our CMO with more than I would say 10 or 15 years in performance marketing. So talking about our investment schedule, in total we're raising 3 million for the whole ecosystem. And right now we started our private round. So the private round have a 16 million evaluation. It's 1.5 million like it's available allocations 1.5 million at the moment. But also we do have a chunk of the seed round allocation available as well. It's around 100K. Mostly we're keeping this one, the seed round allocation for the lead investor. So the seed round have a 9 million evaluation at the moment. We're back to the angels. We are self-funded, of course. We have some bats on board, some VCs like Afford Capital and Aeroscale Foundation. And guys, we'll be ready. We'll be happy to see you on board as an investors or as a liquidity providers or just as our users. So let's come together. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, guys.
Wow, Alex, many thanks for your showcase. It was absolutely a top-notch presentation.
Thank you so much, sir.
I cannot wait to test myself your platform. I mean, I'm quite fascinated by the tools you and your team have built to maximize but also optimize yield generation. So my first question to you is, in your view, what are the main challenges that yield farmers experience at the moment? And how does Farm tackle those challenges?
Uh, in my humble opinion, there is there is something that is missing out, which is preventing the DeFi mass adoption in the area. And I would say it's bad UI in the majority of cases because when regular users are providing liquidity to the custodial services or using the taxes instead of the DEXs. Why are they doing this? Because it's easier for them. They get used to this, right? When we were starting this, when we were doing this a couple of years ago, I mean providing liquidities like staking farming, it was a nightmare. A lot of function operations. You need to have a great experience in the DeFi in order to start doing this, right? Because you need to know how to swap tokens. You need to know how to bridge the liquidity. You need to learn about LP tokens, about farms. You need to collect it. You need to imagine some sort of strategy to sell it, to keep it, to use it for another pool. So it's just annoying, and this is what we're doing. We're trying to simplify everything. So even everybody can use it. Even your grandma can use it. Something like this. So that's why we're keeping so much, pushing so much effort into this direction. That's why we wanted to create a simplified UI which can help this mass adoption. I mean, when users will have an ability to go to the custodian service and click one button or go for the DEX and teach themselves about the whole space, have a lot of on-chain operations, liquidity management, something like this. Of course, they will be choosing something that's more simple. So we want to provide the best APY by our tools, by our the most optimal mechanism of the farm tokens reselling with the auto strats by providing the best APY. We're not, like some custodial services, they will be cutting down this APY and providing you less, and you never know how much, right? So in this case, everything is transparent, and plus on top of this, this process will be simplified, right? So you can enter with one token, or in my like imagination, I see the process like this. You can even have an ability to enter your bank card here, right, and have some postponed transactions. Like I want to provide $100 each month to this pool, right, and this will be automatically done by the tech. This is something that we wanted to create, and also on top of this, like our AutoStress is helped to give additional like 50% or 100% APY on top of the same liquidity, right? Even if you're a DeFi user, if you are even using some competitors, right? So you can provide your liquidity, but anyways, uh, you'll be doing this like liquidity swaps, liquidity movements. It's a lot of manual work. When we were doing this, we have a lot of Excel sheets, right? And we need to determine like, okay, I do have my liquidity here. I need to move it here or maybe here. It's like a full blown, portfolio management analytics work. So we want to cut this off as well. So what we wanted to create is a simplified DeFi ecosystem where users can enter. They can, like, what users need to do. They need to choose what tokens, what skill sources they trust, where they want to provide liquidity, in form of which tokens they want to provide and get this liquidity, and then just provide it, and this is that. They can go and mind their own business. So we'll be doing everything else. So yeah, I hope this this is a decent answer to your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for sharing your perspective. And well, in my own view, except it's like extremely efficient. From the previews I've seen, it looks very, very smooth. And I was wondering, I also heard you mention about you at the moment have a few routes available for different networks. I believe 4 networks, if I'm correct. It's Polygon,
Yep.
Aurora, Binance Smart Chain, and
Yep.
the Avalanche ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I
Correct.
was wondering, is there a chance you could share with us which blockchain integrations are mapped out next for Uniform?
Yeah, sure. So we do have a backlog of the chains and yield sources which we want to like connect inside and implement inside our ecosystem. So basically, we do have some sort of internal structure for this. We want to like we're leaning towards event compatible blockchains mostly at this stage because we want to cover as much like blockchains and yield sources as we can with the best speed available. And in the majority of cases, we're leaning towards those ecosystems who is like who are trusted, and they're having some interesting new yield sources inside, meaning interesting APY on the trusted yield sources. This is like where we're like trying to hunt something down. That's why like we're at the moment we're taking a look at the protocols with the ZK tech inside, maybe Polygon DK, because the guys were actually asking us to do this. But like this backlog is changing a lot. So yeah, probably Polygon ZK will be the next.
Understood. Thanks for clarifying. And I was wondering, do you actually have also some type of personal dashboard for like imagine that I'm using your platform and I'm farming for some type of yield. Can I have some type of dashboard with a personal analysis of profits and perhaps any other statistics?
Oh yeah, actually, thanks for asking because I guess this is last thing that I just forget to mention when I was pitching. So yeah, of course, we do have this desk app over here, and it's showing the general stats for the application itself for the wind farm. I mean, like the best pools, like the TVL, like metrics in auto stress feature, and also about your current stats. So, for instance, you can take a look at your current balances, how it was going up, how it 21.6 in 1 month. It was 21, almost 22. So I gained about like $400 in one of the pools in one of the auto strats. Um, so yeah, of course, you can take a look on the different time frames, on the different statistics for the pools, for the auto. Yeah, sure, we do have this analytics, and moreover, when we started the project, there was a lack of analytics. So we used to have this Excel sheets and trying to understand what is going on with our portfolio, uh, how it's going up or down, or like maybe we need to do some rebalances, something like this. We're going to provide some extra features here in the dashboard at some point, but yeah, you can utilize it. It's free of charge. Like everything inside Uniform X system is free of charge. We don't charge anything at the moment for all of our interesting features that we do have.
Amazing. I can tell you, you definitely have one more user after your showcase. I cannot wait
Yeah,
to try
great.
it. So, thank you so much. I have to mention, we're kind of over time and we have the roundtable next. I
Oh,
had a
okay, okay.
few more questions, but I hope to see you at our next demo day because I would love to shoot these questions. In addition, I would love to mention there's also a community member on YouTube who had a question. So perhaps if you have time, you can have a look at it and interact with him. But I want to thank you so much for this great showcase. I love what you guys do and the value you bring for youth farmers. So I wish you all the best with your fundraising and development. So, and hopefully till the next time, Alex.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for this opportunity. You're awesome. Until the next time. See you soon. Have a great one.
Take care. Goodbye, Alex.